Okay, so this is our MTV crib style. This is kind of stupid, but anyway, we are gonna do the rig of doom has come to pass.
Now tonight we are so excited to introduce our first guest. He's been on our show before, and he's here again to lend his expertise. Please welcome celebrity vocal coach James Lugo.
I'll start this video with a lot of people have watched me buy and sell a lot of gear in the last few months, but I'm kind of finding my way and I'm learning and keep in mind I'm doing this all by myself for the most part. You know, it's we in the days of COVID we work by ourselves. So anyway, guitars are here, a lot of different utility stuff. I've got like a little beater Yamaha that's set up as a baritone. It's got the low 6 strings of a 7-string set, Dan Electro 12. I've got a PV Forenza that is tuned at Nashville, which is an octave above, like the 6 strings of a 12-string, the high end. Yeah, so you can hear it. Like here's, and then here's a normal one. Yeah. Yeah, so that's all. Anyway, everybody knows about that. Then we got a J Mascis P90. It's funny, anybody that knew me would be like, wow, what's with all these guitars he's got that are, because I was such a rocker dude, and I still am, but you know, I mean, being a session guy, you're accommodating a lot of different things. We're doing a lot of pop, we're doing a lot of country, a lot of kind of alternative rock, alternative country, I don't know. So these oddball guitars, you know, 12 strings in Nashville and baritones are very important. So there you go. And then we've got P90, you know, whatever, Jazzmaster. My most of these I've had for a long time. My Strat, my Gretsch, which I've found a new love, or refound my love for this guitar. I wrote almost every song for about 10 years on this guitar because it was so comfortable to play. It was versatile and it stayed in such perfect tune. Now the green Gret, or the green Epiphone Les Paul, is now tuned to open E because I've been studying and getting my slide playing going. And then the 335, a 4-string bass, a 5-string bass. I love this guitar. This and my Les Paul I definitely play the most. This is a Professional 2 Strat. I bought the locking tuners, so it stays in really good tune. I mean, it's still a tremolo. And then we've got Martin and my brother's Taylor that he gave me. And so because the cabs are here, I had to stuff towels in them so they don't ring out crazy. And obviously when I track guitars, I don't have the Strat right there. But anyway, and this is where we've really started the toiling, which is how I'm going to be working. And I'll get into it as I go down the line. 412 with 25 watt greenbacks, 57 Royer, a 212 with the Mesa Boogie vintage 30s, which are like the English, it's their vintage 30s. And that's got a 57 and a Biodynamic M160. And then the Vox AC30. Right now, I just kind of have a Heil PR20 in front of it, which actually really sounds nice with just a single mic too. But anyway, there you go. And then, you know, headphones and breakout boxes. Now you come here, and this is where things have really started to change. You know, I had all but abandoned amps for, I would say probably maybe a year. Everything was Kemper. I was using Kemper Axe-Fx and sometimes even you know, Amplitude 5 and those things are great, don't get me wrong, but it was getting to be too much, and I felt, I don't know, I started to feel weird about what I was doing, and I started watching not only rig rundowns, but I started watching these behind the scene like documentary videos of these, session guitar players tracking, guys from mostly LA and Nashville, guys like Kenny Greenberg, Derek Wells, obviously Tim Pierce. Now I've been really digging into Tom Bukovic. There's a bunch of them. And, they're all about like, the main sauce is Marshall, Fender, and Vox. And then also some of them are digging on Matchless, which is what drew me to this. This is a Category 5. This is a company that Kenny Greenberg is kind of involved in. And basically it's a two-part amp. This is a Samson era Matchless kind of, I guess, reproduction or clone or whatever. I mean, it's a high-end clone though. It's not, yeah. And then this is a Tweed like reproduction. The Tweed is really nice. The Matchless side is crazy. It is crazy sounding. So that and this Supersonic, I love this thing, man. We've been using this on Max Fry's record. This thing is so cool. This side is basically a deluxe reverb, and it sounds killer. I mean, the cleans are gorgeous. You turn it up, the crunch is gorgeous. You put in the button, and you get more of a bassman thing, which is cool. It's a little bit more kind of throaty mid-forward. I like the deluxe better, and especially being in Nashville, it's kind of the thing. But, either one. And then this is like a regular crunch side. It sounds like a little Marshall or, like a hot rodded Bassman or something. And it's really nice. So this is kind of the new jam as far as this. And then I've got the 77. This is a 50 watt with a master volume, completely original stock, unmolested by amp people that do things to amps, like put in effects loops and cascading and add this and add that. There's nothing added. It's totally normal as it was sold. And look at it. It looks like it was bought yesterday new. It's crazy. And then this is the Ocean mod, which not only is obviously the killer modded Marshall, but it also has an amazing, beautiful clean channel, very Fendery. So I can do like 2 cleans and split it with, it's really cool. But this, for a while there, this was what was not at all happening. These amps were just sitting there, and I was just firing up Kemper, mostly Kemper, and I got Axe-Fx, but I don't know. So that was kind of what's been going on, following these guys, and I chatted a fair amount with Kenny Greenberg, and I was looking around at a Matchless, and there's like nothing in town. There was like one, and the key, I guess, was like the Mark Sampson era, the earlier ones. I don't know. They sound good, but I went into Carter and they had this, and I'm like, oh, Category 5. That's the thing that Kenny was using too, because he had a Tweed and a Matchless, like a DC-30, and then he had a Category 5 that had the Tweed and the Matchless, and he said that I go back and forth, and the Category 5 had done a version for him, like a Kenny Greenberg edition or whatever, but this is basically the same thing or the similar thing. This is Brad Paisley 40. I think the Kenny one was 50 watts, but I think it's very similar. Anyway, it's really nice, and it really kind of got me into a different, and what goes in hand with all of this is that I'm back studying guitar. I want to get to the next level, and my playing is really good, and I just want to be better. I've been, I got on a thing with Andy Wood, who's actually an old buddy of mine, and did a little like online class with him and some other guys. And it's kind of sparking some things. I want to do some privates too. I've been studying the cage system, and I've been, going through Brett Papa's stuff. And I mean, obviously Guthrie Trapp. I mean, that guy's like from outer space, but his playing is crazy. And I'm not looking, that's not my jam, because I do a lot of things, you know what I mean? So I'm not like just specifically guitar shred dude. But either way, there it is. The pedals are, I ended up getting rid of the timeline. I just wanted a memory man. I mean, I just really wanted a memory man. I love this thing. I love the way it sounds. That was all I was using two sounds on the timeline. One was the Bucket Brigade, which is Memory Man, and the other one was Tape, which I ended up getting an Echoplex. And you know what? I'm happier, simple, tap tempo, move a couple knobs, you're sounding great. And I feel, for me anyway, both of what they do, they sound considerably better to me than a timeline did at either one of them. So anyway, that's it. A bunch of this. This is that Keysman Early Bird. This is a pedal that a company called Keysman made. They're from North Carolina. I kind of knew them, or my guitar tech at the time was working there. And he brought this thing over, and I called the owner, and I'm like, listen, man, I want to buy this. I do not want to send this thing back. And it's still here. It's a blues breaker. I don't know if it's like a clon. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I'm not hip to that, but it is amazing. It's grimy. It's kind of the opposite of the OCD. And, and then I've got some other, I got the Lightspeed and a Tube Screamer and the Russian Pickle. And then I've got the Octave. I still have the synth here, which I haven't been using. The EQ is obviously, this is really critical for being a session guy, because you can quickly navigate. And the way I've got it all set up is through here. So when I plug in, if nothing's turned on, I'm going, for all intents and purposes, I'm going straight into the heads, and the sound is probably 99% authentic to if I just plugged straight in physically. It's almost zero degradation. And then here's my amp splitter, which my buddy Caleb just got. This is the Headlight by Radial. If you've got a few amps, this is the one. This, because it does ground lifts, it does polarity shifts. It's obviously it's Radial, which means it's built like a tank, and it's perfect sounding. It's so clean. And then it's just, I show the inputs. My 22 is the Supersonic, is plugged in the top left. My 77 Marshall is bottom left. 800 is top center. Axe is bottom center. And then my input, and then C5 is, the Cat 5 is going out the tuner. Because the way I had it all set up, it was fine. It worked great like that. I didn't need any phase flipping or anything. So yeah, and then my Polytune, man. Oh man, I tried to use my rack tuner for a little while there. I got my tuner off of here. I had no room for it. I'm like, no, I love this thing. That is a good tuner. I used to have the little one too, the nano one. I like that one too. I almost thought that one was even kind of cooler, but yeah, this is a great tuner. And then, all right, so hey, look at that. Gee, isn't that the Axe-Fx 3 Mark II that you've had for the last 6 months? No, it's one that I got this week. So in the travels of all this, I'm like, all right, I'm going to go just amps. I don't want to use anything like this. But so I sold it, but then I kept the Kemper. And I'm like, well, the Kemper, I like for like, there's the good high gain profiles that, everything's cool on both of them, but and then it was just weird. I sold it, and literally as I was driving to take it to the post office to ship it, I felt real weird. I was like, oh man, I don't know. Maybe that wasn't a good idea. This thing is very useful in the studio. I'll leave it at that. Whether people like it or not, is, that's their opinion, but that thing is absolutely amazing in the studio, and you can do a lot of cool, funky stuff with it, which sometimes when you're tracking guitars day after day after day, it's nice to have like a little like cool, funky thing that you can start to add because, you know, I mean, at the end of the day, it's just you. So if you've got, you know, only a couple of amps, maybe, you know, I don't know, everything, you don't want everything to be the same, you know, so it gives me kind of new tricks. Anyway, I sold it, I shipped it. As I shipped it, I felt really weird about it. And then all of a sudden I got on the Kemper like that next morning and I was like, oh man, because I didn't want them both. And a part of the reason why I didn't want them both is it was too many choices. It was too much stuff, too many cables, too much connected, too many options. And I just didn't want it. And the thing is, truth be told, I never need high gain sounds anymore. I mean, the high gain I get out of that, and, you know, if something comes up, you know, I can always pick up an old dual rec or something, or what, I don't even care. But the rectifier on this is nice. And anyway, so I talked to a couple friends of mine, and I was like, I don't know, I feel really weird about this. And I ended up putting the Kemper up for sale. I contacted Fractal, and they are completely out of stock, but they had one that was like a demo one, and I bought it, and it got here yesterday, and it's absolutely perfect and brand new, and they sold it as new, so it's new. They probably opened it and let somebody try it, but there it is. And I did a backup the day before I shipped it. So with the help of my friend Mark Day, Mr. Mark Day, Mr. Fractal himself, before there was Leon Todd, there was Mark Day. He went through the whole protocol of how to restore it. And so now it's totally restored. And if I come here, I've got the thing open here, you know, and I go into my presets. I've got all my presets. I've got all my cabs. That's all the Austin Buddy stuff. And I hit the guy up that bought mine. And I said, you're not going to believe this, but I just bought another one. I think he just laughed at me. He was like, oh my God. He's like, I've done that before. You know, you sell something and you're like, oh man, maybe I shouldn't have done that. Which leads me to what I was talking about with my wife today, because she felt, oh, when you sold the Axe-Fx, I had a feeling you were making a mistake. So if my wife that has zero interest in this even knew, it's pretty funny. But, so, yeah, so, but I don't know, things that I regret selling. All right, so I had a matched pair of vintage KM84s, which are Neumann pencil condensers. And I had them for a couple of years. They were perfect. And then I just was like, I wanted to buy something else, and I sold them. I probably sold them for $1,800 maybe. Now it's like you can't even find them, and if you find them, they want like $4,000. Those I kind of regretted. The other thing she brought up that she said you regretted was selling your drum set, and I do. But you know what? There's no drumming going on here. There's no drum set in the studio. It's too small. But selling I had a beautiful Yamaha Silver Sparkle Oak Custom kit, you know, with Zildjian cymbals and oh my God, DW hardware. It was the monster. But yeah, that I kind of regret selling. Yeah, there's been a few things. I sold a Yamaha guitar that I went back to the store, saw it over and over again, finally wanted to rebuy it, went down there, and they had just sold it. So anyway, but there you go. The other thing I got going on here is I finally got my one Vintech fixed. I got it back from British Audio. They did a great job. Thank you, British Audio. And in here I had a Neve 88R. I pulled it last night, put that in. I think I'm going to sell the 88R. I like the 88R. It sounds great. But I'm a caveman, and the 88R is like, you know, it's this, you know, too many switches, as they say. So now I've got everything paired off, a pair of Neves, a pair of APIs. The Vintechs are amazing. They sound great. I mean, how close they sound to a Neve, I don't even care. They sound great, though. And then the Aphexes, which are more utility. So this is mostly for guitars and vocals and acoustic guitars. But yeah, mostly yeah, guitars, and then for my VMS, I go into the API because it's a little cleaner and meaner. And then down there, I've got the Obsidian for mixing. But that's the jam. That's the setup. Obviously, that's my main Les Paul. That's my WCR. And I can run my guitars through my distressors. I wrote down all the settings for the vocals so I can mess with it and then just click everything right back into place. I've never really used the GML too much on guitars. I could. It's really just set for my mix template. So, and then down here I've got, which I got to use on a track the other day, the Cali 76 on bass. Oh man, that thing is really nice. And then I got a decimator and wahs and volume and an expression pedal for the Axe-Fx. So all running trip light. I've got 2 trip light systems for, for cleaning the power and power surges and schmutz. But that's it. And everything, the way I've got it set up now, every amp is plugged in at the same time, which is absolutely amazing. Which the way I had it before was terrible. I had like one lead that I would just plug into different. It was terrible. But kind of watching like Pete Thorne, I'm like, man, that guy's got everything plugged in. I want to be like that. I want to have everything plugged in. So I got it all to work. And I had to move a couple things around last night to get the Axe-Fx in to make it all clean. There's no ground noise. It is just the bomb. The bomb. Okay, and then the other thing I got was the aux. Very useful, sounds great. And again, a few of these things I've owned multiple times. I've owned probably 3 Kempers. I've now owned 2 Axe-Fx's, actually 3 because I had an Axe-Fx 2, which got me to get the 3. I didn't I didn't buy it for me. It came in on a trade-in of something that I was selling. But I got the aux, and the way this is all set up through here so I can have any amp on the aux. The other thing too in here is the AC30 is in its case now, so you can hear it as an open back. But I've got a cable right here that I can plug in, and it goes straight into the aux. And then all I do is switch the ohmage on the back to 16. And the AC30 in the aux is so killer, man. Good Lord. But I'm excited to experiment. And a part of the reason I got this was because I bought the matching cab that comes with the Category 5. It's an open back 212, basically a matchless cabinet with 2 Celestion Golds. And to be honest, I could not get that thing happening for myself. I think it's cool. I just couldn't. It was too bright. It was too like those golds. And this is for Brad Paisley, so this is maybe guys that are more telly guys and they want their sound to be really like spiky and articulate. I'm not so into that, and I don't do that kind of music. I never think, oh, I need the Brad Paisley sound. It just never happens for me. I guess maybe a little bit more warm, but then I listen to guys that are miking open back cabinets and I appreciate it and I dig it, but none of them are using 2 golds. Most of them are either using blues. One guy is using a combination of blue and gold. But combining those they're so different wattage wise. And it was a brand new cabinet. I didn't want to start tearing it apart and experimenting. I was like, I just returned it, but it's a nice cab, but it just didn't, whatever. But, or the other one that they're using are the ones, the way it comes, I think with Matchless or like Dr. Z, which is a similar thing, is like, they call it it's a greenback and a Heritage 30, right? So that's not going to sound anything like 2 golds. Golds are bright. So that was a part of why I was like, I really want to, because this thing has a lot of cool open back and smaller cabs. So just in the few minutes that I got to experiment with it day before yesterday, because yesterday I was just slammed with teaching, without even hardly trying, it sounded great. Like I was getting great sounds with this, and I was doing with the AC30, and I was doing with the Supersonic. So this is obviously a little bit of, this is a grotesque, overblown guitar rig, but you know what? This is all I do. I'm in here on this thing every single day. On most records, I'm the only guitar player. I mean, on 99.9% of all the records, I'm the only guy. I'm playing all the parts, acoustic, electric, bass. So it's nice to have a little variety, and, to kind of break up your own thing. Anyway, that's it. Everything is working perfect. The only thing that's the little bit in question right now, and I'll be honest with you, is I'm thinking about maybe more of a passive 5-string bass. This is passive and active, this Yami, but it's really it shines as active. And I don't know though, man. I was playing them back and forth. It really sounds nice. I think that I've just doing a lot of this country stuff. I've been digging on the passive bass. I don't know. We'll see. But that's it. Yeah. Jeez, right? A couple of the guitars are now up in the attic. I've got all the guitar cases in like my 12-string acoustic, my black Strat. I think there's a couple of other ones are up there because moving the cabs over, I had to get rid of the third guitar stand, and I just have the acoustics over there again with towels. But AC30 has been freshly tubed from Eastside Music Supply. It sounds killer. So there it is. I hope you enjoyed this little rig rundown.